Hey guys, making this little video for you today to help inspire you and give you some powerful tips on how to rock up in the bedroom as well as in life in general. And this week, man, it was too tough to choose a diamond story. I had so many wins this week. So what I'm going to do is talk about the first 4 that joined the call this week, because they're all over 60 and they all had these wins, and it was inspiring to everyone. Especially my younger ones that are like, man, I need to step it up. You know, all these guys over 60 just rocking it. So let me tell you a little of these stories. They all illustrate, you know, what is possible, as well as, you know, making sure you stick to it, the persistence of this. So the first one I want to talk about, first client, he's 76 and he's been making really good progress. He reminds me a lot of me in the sense that he was addicted to porn for a really long time, which really messed with his whole dopamine system. And just like me, he was, you know, he was into a certain type of porn, right? Which really narrowed his arousal. It's like if it didn't fit, and it was basically extramarital porn, you know, having sex outside of marriage. Huge turn on for him. But if it didn't meet those requirements, he wouldn't get aroused, you know. But now he realizes this, and he's been working on this for a while. He's been staying away from the porn, and he's getting more, his arousal system keeps expanding, right? He keeps getting turned on more and more just by the thought of having sex with his wife. And, you know, this particular week, it was great because he took it to a new level. Right? He's been more active and more assertive, but this time he really took charge of what he wanted and told her exactly what to do. Told her, okay, take off your clothes, sit on that couch and play with yourself. Right? And that's exactly what she did. And he got turned on. He got really turned on by the fact that he did it. First of all, he was brave enough to say what he wanted. Turned on the fact that she was so compliant, and the next thing you know, he just jumps on top of her. You know, he's got an erection, they're having a great time, and he's progressing, right? So the arousal system is expanding, right? Now he's getting turned on just with this woman and leading her, right? The second client I want to talk about is 66, and this particular week, it was great, man, because I talked to him last week, and he was getting sort of frustrated because he was hearing all these success stories from all these guys. And he's like, I don't feel like I'm making as much progress. And what I told him was, well, the guys you're talking about, the difference is they're actually going in the bedroom, right? They're actually initiating sex and actually going into sexual situations. And he hasn't in months, right? He's been avoiding it. And that's not just him. That's a lot of guys that I work with. They're comfortable doing the stuff on their own, but as soon as they got to go in the bedroom, they get nervous, right? They don't want to do it. But he says, I'm doing it this week. And he did. So he came in, man, you could just tell the way he's holding himself. He's way more confident. And he said, you know, what I told her was something's going to happen Friday night. I don't know what it is yet, but something's going to happen, so be ready. So he did that, man. He got in there and did his thing, got her naked on the bed, was doing this whole massage thing on her, and she started getting turned on, and he said, all right, I'm going for this. And they had a great time, man. You know, the erection came on, rock hard, having sex. Then it started to wane a bit, but instead of freaking out about it, right, he just went right back into enjoying the whole thing, and it came right back, as it typically does, as long as you don't freak out and you keep enjoying the experience and you keep getting immersed in the experience, right? So huge win for him, right? This guy is really excited. I'm sorry, hopefully he's not drowning my voice completely. I had a couple of emergency vehicles here. All right, so yeah, okay, so that was his story. Then another gentleman I'm working with who is 63, right? So he wasn't even planning on having sex, but the way this guy has been lately, the way he has been carrying himself, the way he set boundaries, the way he's had control over his emotions has really turned his woman on, right? He talks about how much more affectionate she is. She runs out to give him kisses, right? She calls him her rock, which he never did before. She never did before, right? So their whole relationship is changing as a result of how he has changed, right? So he wasn't even planning on sex. She initiated the sex. She was like, yeah, we're going to do this, but it was late, right? So he's used to going to bed early. You know, they were both having to get up in the morning, but it's like 11 p.m. and they're like, oh man, we're getting this started. But then he started getting into it. Erections came on and they were having a great time. Now he ejaculated sooner than he wanted. And this is something that he's really gotten good control over lately. Like there are times where he can completely choose it, right? That's how good he's gotten. But he was tired and it kind of slipped and, you know, it wasn't a big deal. But what happened too was after that is he, the refractory period was decreased so much that he was able to go in for that second round without a problem at all, right? So even though, because she was still wanting it, you know, she was still wanting more. So that's exactly what he did is he just went for another round, right? So they're both satisfied because his refractory period used to be long, right? That wasn't even an option for him, right? But since he's been doing all these activities in the Diamond program, his refractory period's much shorter now. So he was back in the game in no time. They had a great time, and he is he's been learning how to turn her on a lot and learning to get her how to squirt, right? So this time she was so turned on and so relaxed now that she's getting used to this, that he said there was so much that came out of her that he couldn't even, he had to lay down towels on that side of his bed because it was on his side of his bed in order to get to sleep because there was so much fluid, right? Which is great, right? That's just telling me that he's just really got her turned on. So they're happy. And also, the last one I want to talk about is he's 61. And this one in particular, when I'm talking about persistence, because this particular gentleman, he had a number of things going on with him. Has had erectile dysfunction for quite a while. And he has been working hard in the Diamond program. And filling out his charts, showing up for every meeting. And it's been slow progress, you know, which has been frustrating for both of us, really. But over time, now, I couldn't have figured this out if he didn't fill out that daily check-in. The only reason I figured this out is because of that. So if you're a Diamond member and you're listening to this, fill out that daily check-in. Because I can only help you if I can see what's going on. If you don't tell me about it, I can't help. But he did, so, which is another reason I really wanted to help this gentleman, because he was really putting in the effort. So I finally figured out some things that were probably inhibiting this, right? After looking at these patterns over time, we made some adjustments, and it's working like gangbusters. It's not exactly where he wants it yet, but keep this in mind. This guy, he was lucky if he's having sex every 4 to 5 months. He told me 9 months, but I don't think it was quite that long. It might have been, right? But it was a long time, right? And even then, it wasn't, he was lucky if he got it hard enough to keep it in there for just a little bit. And that was what his sex life was like. Well, now, since we made these tweaks, he has had sex multiple times successfully this month. He told me he's had more sex this month than he has in the past 9 months by far. And they're happy. You know, actually, when I was talking to him on the call, his wife is next to him driving. Happy couple heading off to vacation to have some more fun. Right? So these are, you know, I wanted to tell you these stories because sometimes we get these beliefs, you know, like, oh, it's just because I'm old or older, or, you know, this is just something I'm going to have to learn to live with, or I can't do this. Man, I see guys turning this around all the time. 60s, 70s. I haven't got anyone in their 80s yet, but man, if you're in your 80s or 90s, come on in. I would love to work with you. So if you are listening to this and you want to get this kind of personalized help, like all of these guys, right? So I work with them one-on-one. If you want a customized plan so I can see exactly what's going on in your ecosystem, and then work with you one-on-one to help you, you know, turn all this around and get the sex life that you want, just click the button below that says 4 pillars, and it will tell you all about our coaching program and how it's different from our actual products, like the formula and foundations. But either way, right, keep a positive attitude, work on the things that make a difference, the stuff inside of IPM, the erection ecosystem, impact point matrix. Focus on those things, right? Keep going. Try to get yourself some support. You know, if not from us, maybe your woman, right? She might be able to help support you, or if you got a good friend. And you can do this, man. I've seen it over and over and over again. All right? But it's easier to join us for coaching. So click that button below, and I will see you on the next video.